Okay, here it is at last, the video that I promised. How to get Disneyland Paris, family of four, for around about £1,500. So I don't normally do this because my videos are very much whatever I want them to be honest, but I very rarely get in front of the camera myself. But as this is trying to save people money, I thought I may as well actually get involved and get in front of it. So there's a few things with this video. I will give you a breakdown in terms of how I managed to get this for such a low price, even though the Disneyland itself is an absolute rip-off. Stick around till the end. I know everyone says this, but I will, reveal all the information as I go through. There will be some stuff towards the end as well. But please, just take it on board, do what you want, but just don't pay obscene prices. That's all I will say. So, first of all, family of four, so 2 adults, 2 children, both in primary school. Holidays are expensive, life is expensive with the cost of living crisis and everything else. People are constantly trying to rip us off. So I thought, you know what, we can do this, and I'm not paying their silly prices just to give my kids an experience. So one key fact of this is having access to the discounts. So I work for an employer that gives me access to perks at work. I will put a link on the screen and in the bio description for this, but I believe Perks at Work is a global site and offering available to a lot of different companies. So all I would say is check to see if your employer does it. If they don't, I'm sure you probably got access to something else, but again, discounts through your employer I strongly recommend, but equally, as this is going to prove, you need to shop around. I'm not Martin Lewis, but I do believe in what he says in terms of making the most out of what's available and trying to save yourself as much as possible. So through Perks at Work, so I managed to take the kids during March. So it was me, the wife and the kids, as I said, so flights. It was all done through EasyJet, and it was £270.04. Didn't pre-book our seats because my understanding is if you have kids, young children especially, they have to sit them with an adult. So why would I pay extra to have a seat designated when I'm not bothered as long as I can sit down? My kid is going to be put next to me or my wife or whatever the order is. Fortunately, and I will say touch wood on this, is we've always sat together as a family of 4. We don't travel very often, but it's always worked out well. EasyJet, I really like them. Again, this isn't sponsored by any of these companies in any way, shape or form. They sort of operate, in my opinion, between Ryanair and Jet2. They are really good value, but you just don't get all the extras that you probably get with some of the more expensive airlines, but equally, you're not getting a bog standard service. Secondly then, so hotel. We stayed in an apartment hotel, which was roughly about a mile from the park. I'm sure if you've looked at any of my other videos or social media posts, walking is something that I am adamantly obsessed with, if that's even a phrase. Just walk. I know there's a lot of people who can't, and that's fine if you can't, but it's a mile, and you'd be surprised how quick the time goes when the kids are going to a theme park. But equally, just how much the price difference is between staying in a park hotel just outside of the park and staying in the park. When I looked at hotels within the park, in fact, this overall experience should, if I had gone with Disney's experience as it would be, it would have cost thousands and thousands of pounds to stay in the park itself, in their nonsense hotels. Yes, it's magical. Yes, I'm sure it's lovely. But do I really want to be spending thousands on a theme when I'm trying to do this on a budget? No. So the hotel we stayed at, I'll give you a bit of a walkthrough as you'll see on the screen. We were next to a huge shopping centre. To give you an idea of the scale of this shopping centre, it's probably, for those of you who live sort of in the north of England, North Wales, you would probably say it was the kind of like at least 2 Trafford centres together. with a Cheshire Oaks on the outside. But yeah, huge, absolutely ridiculous. And that's also part of how we managed to save a lot of money. There is a Italian restaurant which does takeaway pizzas. I'll put the name on the screen because I can't remember it right now, but the pizzas are just phenomenal, and they do takeout specials on certain nights and so on. But crucially, the supermarket, I'll put a video clip up just to show you sort of a snippet of what's on offer. I have never come away from being on holiday and been annoyed at being back in the UK more than I did with this. This place, bear in mind its proximity to Disneyland, and obviously we're within the Parisian area. It was so much cheaper than the UK supermarkets, and it was better quality. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So, fresh bread, yeah, it's Paris. The French bread is just something they're really good at. But this is part of the reason why I was able to save so much money. I believe in giving my kids choice, but to a certain degree. Now, so what I mean by this is, the wife wanted to take the kids as a surprise, and that's what this was. My condition was that we're not going to blow an absolute fortune, because I don't have it. It's as simple as that. I work for a living. Now, packed lunches, butties wrapped up in tinfoil are perfectly acceptable. You can still do them nicely though. This isn't the 90s when I was a kid and it was just all smashed up sandwiches in sweaty cling film. You're in Paris, you've got Parisian food in the supermarkets. You can buy fresh, even very small baguettes and so on, which keep their freshness for most of the day, and you can make some awesome butties. Do that. That's what we did. I nicknamed them Pocket Butty or Pocket Sandwich, whatever you want, and make a song and dance about it, make it all stupid, and your kids think it's funny, and next thing you know, you're pulling out a Pocket Butty and they think it's hilarious. It takes the stigma away from this whole thing of, we're taking a packed lunch. Believe it or not, when you're queuing 2 hours to get on a ride and you've got a very small rucksack on your back full of snacks and sandwiches, you are an absolute winner. And you've got all these other kids who are just feral, running around and climbing over things. Again, I'm not getting into that, but my kids were quite happily stood there eating a sandwich whilst as a pastime while they're waiting to get on the ride. Perfect. And it also meant we could have our lunch on the go, so we're not taking up time sitting in a restaurant or queuing up for food on top of all the other queuing, because that's all Disneyland is. It's a queue simulator. Anyway, I digress. So this hotel next to the supermarket, absolute godsend, perfect location, brilliant. £383.56. Bear in mind, this is for 5 days that we were there, so really good value. So we flew from Liverpool Airport. Ideal for getting from the UK. Very, very not busy at all. Love the place, but the again, through perks at work, because there's airport parking discounts and so on, I think I got parking from round about, I think it was like 40 quid, something like that, not a lot. So once we got to Paris, the only thing I wanted to do was I wanted to use the TGV train service to go between the two, because there is a station at Disneyland Paris. The only downside is the last train went as we landed. I think it was like sort of 25 to 10 at night, so 9:35. Really annoying. So I had to fork out for some transfers. It was £59.22, which, all right, it's convenient, mega convenient. The only downside is, and you'll see it towards the end, just how much quicker the TGV is getting you back. But that was it. That was us getting from Liverpool to the hotel with the transfer. Brilliant. All in. So tickets for the park. So we had 5 days in Paris in this hotel. I bought two day tickets for the 4 of us, so that we could obviously go in and out over the 2 days. I would say that was just the right amount of time for what we needed. You could see how you could probably spread it out over 3 days. Anything more than that is just ridiculous, and you need to get a life as far as I'm concerned. And 1 day, unless you're planning on going back again during a very limited period and going to see some of the bit, not worth it. The frozen area wasn't open. It was all completed. We could see it. And I believe when we were there, they had already had all the influencers and all these other people to try and promote it and gave early access and all that nonsense. But it looks impressive. You can see, we could actually see it, and it did look good. But it wasn't open, as I said. Probably also why the tickets suddenly shot up after we went, but hey ho. So tickets, I found a website called Attraction Tix, again, I'll put the link up, which does, I believe it's a reseller of tickets, but it's authorised and, you know, fully all above board. But I paid £479.98, so under £500 for 2-day tickets for a family of 4. I believe that's good. I was still disgusted at just how much money that was for some tickets to a theme park. But I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Was there much difference between Disneyland and Alton Towers? Not really. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so under £500 for the tickets. Apparently, that's good. But obviously, we were only in the park for 2 days, so we also had other time to kill. And one of the things my wife wanted to do with the kids was take them into Paris itself. I'm not a fan of big cities at all, really. I like outdoors in the country, but Paris, I'll be honest with you, lovely. Now, the comments section is likely to go a bit wild over this, but apparently what people told me beforehand was Paris is grotty, you know, dirty, borderline smelly. Parisians are, how can I put it? They have a reputation for rudeness. Oh, people are rude. But crucially, yeah, I studied French in high school, and even I'm sure I recall even my French teacher saying about Parisians, if you speak French to a Parisian, they're more likely to just look at you and be like, speak English. But I did not have that experience at all. One, Paris, I was amazed at how lovely the place was. Graffiti, yeah. People selling tat, scammers, con artists, especially around the Eiffel Tower and key landmarks. What do you expect? It's the same in every major city, especially across Europe. I'm not surprised. You know, no, I don't want you to tell me where the best photo bit is. No, I don't want to guess where the P is. No, I don't care. I don't want your tat either. Your light up plastic naff Eiffel Tower from Temu. Go away. I genuinely couldn't give a toss. I don't give a crap about your mass-produced bracelets, whatever. But anyway, that's a mini rant. But as I usually do, just ignore them, you know. But again, Parisians, we were able to walk around. One thing I do recommend, and this is an extra, which we did because I always do if we go to any major city, hop on, hop off tour buses. Yeah, it's great just to do the loop and go on the top floor. Did it round a few other places, Rome we've been to and so on. It was €124 for all 4 of us for a day ticket. When you look at a bus ticket at that price, you think, oh my days, that is stupidly overpriced. However, by the time you break it down, because you can go on it all day and you've got the open top bit and you know exactly where the route is, it is worth it, especially like myself and the wife and the kids will walk anywhere. Genuinely not bothered. But having access to this bus just to know I can get back to the station quickly or whatever it needs to be, or jump between landmarks, worth it, in all honesty. So it's an extra, but it's worth it. So yeah, Paris, lovely. Parisians themselves, very welcoming. Went into a patisserie. You know, my French is garbage at best, but you say bonjour, they will say bonjour. You say merci, they will say merci. You know, whatever. You know, you should always know to say please. You know, good morning and thank you. You know, you don't need to say please. It's just thank you. Thank you's enough. But yeah, the whole stigma around the rudeness and so on is misplaced in my opinion. But again, my opinion, my experience. Everyone's different. Apparently, some people have found Welsh people rude. Never heard of such a thing. But yeah, anyway, so Paris, train from the, so where we were staying, you could either walk to the other end of the big shopping centre, and there's a train station there, or the one actually at Disneyland Paris. Either of them will get you into Paris. I think it was around about £20 for a return ticket for the four of us to go. Probably less than that, actually. I can't remember exactly because it was a paper one from the machine. But again, nothing, dirt cheap. For those train nerds out there, they are quite cool. Double-decker trains, yes. A double-decker train isn't exclusive to Paris before people start jumping into the comments with it. But still, comfortable, clean. Got to see a bit of the, out the windows, countryside and so on, just as you're going in. But yeah, great. Highly recommend it. So again, you can have a day out in Paris for relatively cheap. Didn't eat out anywhere apart from McDonald's. Now that isn't, that's stupid, I know. But again, when you've got two young children and they are tired and so on, you're all sort of debating in terms of what to eat. It's easy. I'm not endorsing getting McDonald's for every meal. And yes, you should always embrace cultural food and so on, but sometimes it is just easier. And, God forbid a parent trying to have an easier life. But we did go into a patisserie, as I said, and I have never, ever had a lemon meringue pie like the one I had in this patisserie. I don't even think I took a picture. I think I inhaled it that quickly that there wasn't time for anything else. But my God, it was good. Again, wasn't that expensive. A couple of euros. But again, what you have to do is not... It'd be the same as going, let's say you go to London and, you walk into Selfridges. I think it's Selfridges or Harrods or whatever it is. And they have the patisseries and so on. They have those massive meringues with raspberry or lemon in and so on. And they're like, say, £12. But then if you were to walk a bit further along and find a smaller independent one, you might find it for £6. That was the same in Paris. If you went to a big, patisserie where they're all queuing out the door and it's dead expensive, but I found one just down a little street. Woman was lovely. Her food was amazing and it was very reasonably priced. Anyway, they say, day in Paris. So first day, got there, couldn't really do much, going to bed. Second day, went straight into Paris, brilliant. Then third day and fourth day was going into the park. And then the fifth day was spent coming home. So, cool. Spends wise, so as I said, did a lot of supermarket, one or two supermarket shops, packed lunches and treats, takeaway pizzas. My total spending money was round about 200 to £300. I can't tell you exactly, but what I'm getting at is that if you do a breakdown of everything that we did, plus the kids got some Minnie Mouse ears, standard souvenirs. I got a chip hat from Chip and Dale because I needed a hat. Time of year we went, on the note of that, it was frosty first thing in the morning, but by the time midday came, it was lovely and warm. I was in shorts and a hoodie. Not that would be unusual, it'd be like that if it was minus 10. I was in Krakow in shorts and t-shirt in November, December, and I think it was minus whatever it was. So I'm probably not the best one to go off for clothing wise, but even my kids and so on were just quite happy in a hoodie. It wasn't cold by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, that was it. Kids loved it. It was nice. Would I go again? No, but that's neither here nor there. There is one final piece that I have not spoken about yet, though. When we went. Now, the comments are, there's a good chance the comments will blow up on this one. When do you go on holiday with your children? Now, I did the research, and to take them during a school holiday was very, very expensive. One of the key factors in me saving all this money was taking them out of school. Now, caveats. I live in Wales. Children are allowed, I believe, up to 10 days a year for authorised absence for holidays. It's brilliant. Genuinely, it's down to the school, and I believe the local authority, but down to the school's discretion in terms of it being granted. I took the kids out for 2 days. 2, that was it. Or maybe even 3. It wasn't much, because the way it landed with other time off and so on with the teacher trained day. Anyway, it was optimal in terms of when I took them. I couldn't have afforded to do it any other time, and I'll be very surprised how many parents exist that could afford to do this during a school holiday, unless you've either got a ridiculous amount of money that you can just waste anyway, more money in the sense, or just you've been in a very privileged position. I'm privileged enough that I can afford to do this, and I'm not bigging myself up, but we are in a very fortunate position to even be able to budget it to this sort of level of tightness. There is no way that people can afford to do this on a regular. Every company out there, in my opinion, is in a state of trying to rip you off. Disney's prices are extortionate, and I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's an experience to be had, but my God, there is no need for that level of pricing on all of it. I don't understand if you were paying a lot to get in and then everything inside was relatively cheap, but it's not. It's just like, oh, you've paid a fortune to get in. Now we're going to extort you on goods. Take your kids out of school. I know people are going to go, you shouldn't say that. It's like, well, their education's important. I am a firm believer in that. Are they going to miss much for a week? No. Is their emotional well-being, mental health, and overall happiness worth a little bit of time away from school? Absolutely. The fact parents in England get fined is disgusting, and the government need to change that and step in, because yes, people will take the mickey with it. Get it? Stupid joke. But parents, it's tough. It's really tough being a parent in every aspect. Yes, again, people go, you chose to have children. Yeah, I did. Absolute choice of mine. Should I be financially penalised by everyone else, or not by everyone else, but by society or the world at large for it? No, absolutely not. Children should have experiences. Equally, they shouldn't have them all the time. This is a one-off, as I said. But what's 100% attendance going to do? Genuinely, is a certificate. Wow, it's probably about worth as much as my Puffin award for turning up at swimming when I was God knows what age. It's worthless. I have never ever, at my midlife as I am now, 40 years old, I have never ever turned up to a job interview and they've said, could you provide your attendance for high school, please? No. What? No. There is no. It's just ludicrous. It's just ludicrous, and the fact that everyone, schools, the government, society, they all place this onus on, like, oh, you must go to school. You must attend school every single second of every day. It's like, yeah, for the most part, but kids get ill. Equally, I'm not endorsing this in any way, shape or form, but if you needed to take your children out of school for 2 days and you had to phone up that school to tell them that they weren't attending for 2 days as an emergency, and everyone was able to keep a secret, who knows what could happen. But as I said, you've got a few choices. You can either pay full price, fine. If you're in a position to do that, go wild. Fine. You can take your kids out of school in whatever means you see fit. Not endorsing anything, but just saying you could. You could move to Wales. Brilliant. Move to Wales. And then have a more reasonable approach to children's education and attendance. They're your choices. Or don't go. Do something else. Fine. But as I said, and I digress a lot, did we need to go? No. Did I want to go? No, didn't want to go. I'll be honest with you, didn't want to go. Am I happy now I've been? I wouldn't say I'm any happier. Did I find an experience? Yeah. This I enjoyed. Breaking it down, and well, actually, I enjoyed the hunt, the thrill of finding the bargain. I say, apart from the tickets because they nearly killed me inside. But yeah, the kids loved it. They were crying on the last day. That's worth it. Worth 1,500 quid just for that. Not to see my kids crying, but to see them happy and to know that they will remember, and it's made them just their lives that little bit better. And again, I'm not in this on some sort of philosophical nonsense, but you know, save yourself some money. Like genuinely, like you've got to shop around, you've got to find bargains. If you've got perks at work through your employer, do it. Amongst God knows what else, but that attraction tics is really good. As I said, none of this is endorsed by them. It is just here. I'm here just to save people money if I can. I did it. You should do it. But thanks for watching. I know this has been quite a long video, more than what I would normally do. There will be various information in the description. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take it easy.